This year has been one of the most challenging of my entire life. Even back in January, some distant lifetime ago, on that cursed NJIT work trip that found me in a record-breaking snowstorm in Mobile, Alabama. Stranded days beyond the original itinerary, 1,000 miles from anything I love. The Battle House Hotel is supposed to be filled with ghosts, and I drunkenly went searching for them out of irreverent boredom not one, but 2 nights in a row. Maybe that was a mistake. That trip, coinciding with both MLK Day and the second Trump inauguration, came to symbolize something between movement, meaning, and clarity for me. I truly feel in some sense that I came back haunted from it. It was January 31st when the ragtag university research group that employed me got its stop work order from the government. As promised, the newly elected president began his administration's circus by freezing all federal grants. Not great considering all of our salaries were funded by EPA grant money. Luckily, a federal judge barred the action and we resumed operations a few days later. But by then, my morale had already declined. The artifice of it all had already started to appear clearly to me for some time, but by then, it was undeniable. I looked at my leaders and couldn't help but see we were never equipped to handle the challenges of environmental injustice, climate disasters, or even basic public awareness of issues surrounding environmental contamination. So my first question this year became, does anything I do matter at all? By March, my apparent distaste for and distrust of my employer came to a head. What I expected was an HR powwow to smooth growing tensions over. What I got was a serving of the coldest corporate bullshit I've ever encountered. I was summarily fired, technically no fault released, from a job for the first time ever. I was escorted off campus by police in complete pageantry. I don't know if I was just a reminder that beyond the safe space of our locked office doors, there is a real world full of tribulation and chaos out there, or if I was just expecting too much. Frustrated with performative leadership, I needed to put my energy somewhere else that still felt alive. I woke up on March 19th with a strange kind of freedom. Because I was unionized, NJIT couldn't just cast me out. They had to pay my full wages and benefits through June 30th. I collected every penny. In a year when Trump's Doge was erasing billions from federal spending, I'll admit it was an absurd use of tax dollars. But maybe this is what happens when you become a problem inside a machine built on institutional groupthink. Without a job pulling me in every direction, I finally had the space to breathe. I centered music and creativity. I made new friends. I showed up for mutual aid. I traveled, wrote, wandered, and wondered. It was a rich transitional period, but it carried a slow, persistent sadness under everything. Spring brought loss. An unexpected death in the family made all the work drama feel childish. Being unemployed meant I could fly to Phoenix with my parents for the funeral. I'm grateful I did. I gave a eulogy for my aunt, saw relatives I hadn't seen in a decade. Under the desert sky, I could almost imagine a version of myself that didn't question everything to the point of breaking it. A version that could just go with the flow. But the trip was brief, and reality snapped back into place as soon as I returned. Mortality collapses your perspective when you realize the people who raised you aren't invincible. The world you built for yourself feels thinner. I thought about my parents, about my time, and about the years I've spent trying to push against systems that will never acknowledge me, let alone change because of me. I also thought about my labor over the last 2 decades, what certain types of employment can provide, as well as what they cost. My father took over his dad's job, and if I could, maybe I should have done the same. But I don't think following that path is possible for me. Not at this point, not anymore. The gap between us runs deeper than career choices. We live different kinds of lives for different purposes, and the contrast grinds at the edges. All of this was happening while Guac was going through its own chaos. We lost our bassist out of nowhere as we were tracking our EP and booking summer shows. I taught myself the bass lines in a blur of late nights, stress, and stubbornness. Someone had to. If I'd been working full-time, I don't think I could have managed it. Casted a shadow over my LA trip with Frank, a chaotic burst of escapism that kept me afloat when everything else was drifting. The search for a bassist did eventually end in June, and our band has kept it pushing since, more or less. Devoting time to writing, rehearsing, promoting, and playing shows, talking. Coming to terms that sustaining this project is a labor of love, not some passing rock star fantasy. In retrospect, this stretch of the year brought a sense that life was rearranging itself faster than I really understood. Things felt abstract. I kept asking myself, how do I hold a life together when the earth shifts underneath me? What am I supposed to become now? I wound up becoming the only thing I knew I'd have to be, employed again. Private consulting was waiting with open arms. Returning to the field wasn't a triumph. It was gravity. Capitalism's version of mercy. I could only float by for so long before being reminded rent, food, and healthcare don't care about my existential journey. Coming back to TRC was familiar, but I'm not the same worker who left. I spent months reckoning with the meaning of work and the ways institutions disguise limitations as structure. Now I'm back in a profession shaped by regulations, scopes of work, budgets, and the uneasy math of labor and systems where value is measured against what your work produces for someone else. Environmental consulting has bright, necessary moments, but almost like the healthcare system, it's a practice of diagnosing and treating consequences rather than causes. It's full of people trying to do right in an economic framework shaped by forces far above them. What does it mean to devote one's life to protecting land, water, air, and people when it is money that makes the world go around? The work is relegated to serving bureaucracy, incapable of meeting the most impacted areas and people where they needed to. I told myself I'd keep it in its place, that it would just be a day job, nothing more. The truth is that labor bleeds into all corners of life. Stress returns slowly, like humid summer nights. One deadline becomes two, a field day becomes a week. The creative, curious parts of myself I'd unearthed slipped back behind the version who was expected to be vigilantly competent and responsible. Then came Aruba with the in-laws, a beautiful break, and a chance to pretend that I could reset in sunlight and ocean breeze. But peace doesn't magically find you just because you temporarily relocate to one happy island. You bring your mind with you everywhere you go. The sun was warm, the water a brilliant azul, but I still felt the same weight under the surface pleasantries. I realized then just how deeply everything from the first half of the year had carved into me. Not dramatically, but quietly, the way flowing water erodes stone. Slow, subtle, and constant. We all need stability, but really we crave meaning. We're taught to work to survive, but want lives not wholly defined by work. I've learned some hard lessons on employment, on limits and the difference between surviving and living. I return to a field that pays me, but doesn't necessarily fulfill me. Every day I'm reminded that I'm trading pieces of my life for the stability that keeps the rest of it standing. At the same time, my cardiac health demanded attention. I read the hypertension as my body communicating that I've been moving at a pace I can't keep up. Finally started medication and it helps, not in some cinematic life-changing way, but in the steady rhythm you don't appreciate until your body unclenches for the first time in months. These recent months have felt like a blur of events that I'm always running late for. It's less bad luck and more the natural flow of things. Days aren't just shorter and colder. There's an urgency that builds the closer to the end of the year we get. Most of my days are spent at work. I show up, do what I need to do, and leave, no longer asking it to provide meaning it was never designed to give. I don't see the job as anything more than a means to survive. I let go of hope that the environmental industry represents any true form of environmentalism. It's profit-driven work, not activism. It centers on staying billable, the titles, the deadlines. None of it is tangible, yet it can all destroy your nervous system if you let it. The job isn't fully good or bad. It's part of my identity as a worker, not my purpose as a human. My nights and weekends are caught between art, community, rest, and daydreaming. The shows Guac played in autumn were an easy highlight, although our lineup ultimately couldn't stay put. We lost our bassist once again, like clockwork. Frustrating, but not surprising. What energizes me can drain someone else. Being in a punk band is a grind. It's labor-intensive, public, and committal. There's no room for doubt in the role. We leaned on fill-ins and the shows kept moving. We adjusted. Keeping this project alive isn't about stability, it's about persistence. Priorities also shifted at home. My senior cat, Mr., lost significant weight this November. His blood work came back normal. No kidney disease or hyperthyroidism. That should be relieving, and it is. But it also pushes us into another round of tests. It's expensive, stressful, and uncertain. A reminder that every health scare becomes a logistics huddle around price and timing. What's kept things from fully spiraling has been Olivia. She's had her own 2025, with its own challenges. She's absorbed the splash damage of mine, the job mess, the burnout, the instability, the constant drone of anxious uncertainty. She stayed, not out of obligation, but because she meant it when she committed, for better or for worse. That's real and rare. She gives me something no institution ever has, the feeling of being met, not managed. But outside our home, the world tilts further into absurdity. I've become aware of how much daily life is built on agreeable myth rather than hard truth. The political and social systems are openly cruel and deranged. Most leaders are petulant laughingstocks with no path forward. I watch people defend these structures with real emotion, as they hollow their lives out to keep up. Suggesting that things are misaligned is treated like an inconvenience or a threat. It's delusion masquerading as pragmatism. It's easier to perform belief than to sit with doubt. I'm no longer surprised by the cruelty, the complacency, or how quickly discomfort gets reframed as personal failure instead of collective design. What is real to me now isn't ideology. What's real is the human reaction. Thoughts that don't shut off, exhaustion that no weekend fixes, the dread that something is wrong even when things are technically working. Most of it holds power only because we keep feeding it our attention, our fear, our health, our hours. It makes me careful about what I allow to matter. I'm not pretending next year will be some kind of reset. It won't be. Some years don't end with hope. Some years just end.